everyone. Good to be back. I hope you all are doing well. I'm very excited. Nathan says, wait, isn't this like the Harry Potter world? The Harry world? What's the Harry world? Who's the Harry world? Am I the Harry world? I have a lot of hair. I'm just kidding. It's so good to be here. So we are going to be talking about mythological creatures and beasts today. But we won't be talking only about Greek myths. We'll kind of talk about a little bit of everything around the world, which is sort of cool. Yes, you guys are funny. Harry Potter. Yeah. All right. So let me pull up the book. I'm seeing a lot of action in the chat. Yeah, so let's talk. If you have questions, you can type your question in the chat. You can type your question in the Q&A. I am totally fine with either of those. Works for me. And I guess the first thing I want to know is what mythological beasts, what mythological creatures do you know? What are some mythological creatures that you like? I see Medusa, Centaur, Griffin. Woohoo! Yes. Unicorns, Hydras, Chimera. Okay, this is great. Yes, you guys know a lot of Greek mythology ones. This is awesome. Dragons. Thank you. Mermaids, question mark? Yes, mermaids, Joyce. Oh my god, sirens. Kitsune? Ooh. Okay. Enchanted golden apple. Yeah, we'll throw that in there. That sounds good, Max. Fairies, gods. Perfect. Yes, you're all correct. These are all mythological beasts or beings. I saw a lot of mention of reading Percy Jackson. Definitely the Percy Jackson books have Percy interacting with a lot of different creatures, which is awesome. Nathan's asking about Pokemon. You know, I would say Pokemon's not really mythological, probably because Pokemon was invented not so long ago, but sure, why not? All right, cool. I'm glad you guys said that. So we're just going to take our time. We're going to go through this book, learn a little bit about some of the creatures you did not mention, and maybe a couple that you did, and we'll take it from there. So let me make, ooh, my WeChat popped up. Let me make this a little bigger. Excellent. Okay. You all know what mythological and myths are, all the imaginary stuff, the fictitious stuff. Usually though, so that's why things like Pokemon are not myths, because Pokemon is very recent and myths are usually very old. They're very about like earlier history and that sort of thing. And they're always about something supernatural, so something not quite there. All right. Yes. Jason says 1990. Definitely probably when Pokemon was invented. Which, hey, I love Pokemon. Unfortunately, it's not a myth. Okay. Now there's another type. Have you guys heard of the word folktale or folklore? Kind of the same thing as myths. The only difference is a folktale, something is passed down by word of mouth. So, oh my God, you guys are very active. Woohoo! I love it. So, can you guys tell me, do you have a favorite folktale that you've heard? Not that you've read, something that you've heard. I'm very curious. Alina says Aladdin. Yes, Aladdin's definitely a folktale. Absolutely. Cheryl's thinking. Michael says Aladdin too. You're all saying Aladdin. I love it. That's perfect. That's fine. Aladdin is actually part of, thank you, Austin, the Three Pigs. Nice, perfect. Yolanda says Cinderella, yes. So Aladdin, I'm gonna send this in the chat, is part of this book called A Thousand Arabian Nights or something like that. There's that. And Max says Anansi the spider and Athena. Good, good, awesome. Yes, okay. We know folktales, we know myths. Perfect. So I don't really want to read this introduction. It seems like you guys kind of know what we're talking about. So let's make sure we're talking about all different parts of the world with this. So let's talk about mermaids first, because someone mentioned a mermaid earlier and it's gonna be fun. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, you guys are very active in the chat. Let's try to keep the conversation to myths or questions you might have, or if there's an emergency. Maybe not chocolate chip pancakes because you guys are making me hungry. Okay, so mermaids, beauty of the deep. Let's get through this. I'm gonna make this a little bigger. It's kind of a worldwide. It's from all over the world. Every culture kind of has their own version of mermaids, to be honest. So let's take a look. Mermaids have been swimming through folklore and pop culture for over 3,000 years. They are most often portrayed as beautiful women with a long fish tail, sometimes one tail and sometimes two. From romantic stories to horrific tales of terror, the mermaid has left her mark on seafarers throughout the world. All right. The very first stories are found in ancient Assyria, where the goddess Atargatis tried to transform herself into a fish out of shame after accidentally killing the man she loved. Oh my gosh. The sea refused to conceal her beauty, so she was only partly transformed. Although, according to the story, she was a fish from the neck down with only one human arm. So it's not quite like from our waist down that we kind of think of mermaids, and that's kind of shown in the picture. But it was like her neck, her whole torso. Oh my gosh. And all because what? Because she accidentally killed her lover. It's crazy. It's awful. It's terrible. Mermaid is beautiful, yes. Nathan said, mermaids are scary. They sing songs that lure you there and then make you their slave forever. Yes, they're a type of mermaid, maybe called the siren, and that's what a siren would do. And Maxine's also right. They can drown you. It depends on the myth you read. Sometimes you die, and sometimes you are stuck there forever. Someone said, what else did you say? Yup, it's in it. Yup, you guys are all correct. Very, very good. Okay. Let's talk about people who think they've seen mermaids. So for almost all of time, there have been recorded sightings which can be best explained by misunderstood encounters with various sea creatures. Even Christopher Columbus was reported to have spotted several mermaids and mermen while sailing through the Caribbean. Oddly enough, mermaids are an unlucky omen in those parts, so they were thought to only speak to doomed ships or be a sign of bad weather. Yeah. The earliest artistic depiction of these beauties can be found in Durham Castle in the British Isles. It was built in 1078 and contains a carving on one of its pillars that appears to be half woman, half fish creature. Stories of mermen have also been passed down from Greek mythology. Triton was the son of Poseidon and an official messenger of the sea. He is nearly always represented as a merman carrying a trident and holding a twisted conch shell. So, These are some of the most popular myths, obviously. And if you look here on the side, you can see all the different similar creatures from other countries. So we talked about sirens. In Scotland, it's called a selkie. In Japan, the ningyo, the suvanamacha. Well, I think I said that wrong. From Hindu culture in India, mami water from Africa, and rusalkas from Eastern Europe. So that's why mermaid's kind of a worldwide thing. Yeah. And if you are in the Pacific Islands, they think that humans actually came from mermaids in some places. It's possible. Some powers they might have, they're immortal. They can see the future. They have telepathic powers. They might know what you're thinking. Crazy. And they can hypnotize anyone or anything at sea. Now, I don't know about you, but I think mermaids are a lot more powerful than people think they are. Oh, you guys are very active. Woohoo. Can we see videos of mermaids seeings? Maxine, I would love to, but I think it would be a little bit scary for some people. So unfortunately, maybe not. But hey, you never know. Alina says Ariel's grandpa is Poseidon. Yes, that logic holds up. Jason says Ningyo look weird. Why do they look weird? I'm curious. Okay. Mermaids aren't scary. You'd be surprised, Michael. They can be very scary depending on what they look like, I would say. Okay. Cool beans. We're going to move on from mermaids, and now we're going to talk about the hobgoblin. So I need to know what you guys think of the hobgoblin just by looking at him. Maybe I can zoom out a little bit. There's our hobgoblin. It's a gnome. It's a nuke. What is that? Bruce thinks mermaids are ugly. Aha. Yes. It's a gnome. It's a goblin. A man is a goblin. The gold dude. It's green. It's evil. I love it. Let's talk about the hobgoblin. So they come from Europe. Hobgoblins are mischievous spirits that are less than helpful and sometimes cause harm. They are a type of fairy, but certainly nothing like what we usually picture when we think of fairies. They are small, hairy, smelly male creatures that will do odd jobs around your house and only expect food in return. However, if you do not comply with their demands, you could find the backlash to be destructive and harmful, as they are natural tricksters and practical jokers. Hobgoblins are similar to brownies, another type of fairy, but they are more easily annoyed and very bitter. If you give a hobgoblin a piece of clothing, they consider themselves banished from your home and disappear forever. Interesting. To me, that sounds a little bit like the house elves in Harry Potter. Hobgoblins, however, are not as nasty as goblins, who are taller, carnivorous, and are predominantly nocturnal. The word hob means small, indicating that they are, in fact, small goblins. Whoa, look at this chat. They need a sock. Yeah, give them a sock. I'm not going to Europe because of the hobgoblins. Goblins live underground in Norse mythology. Thank you, Alina. That's good to know. Yes, yes, yes. You guys are awesome. Look at this. They need a sock. Master has given Dobby a sock. Dobby is free. Oh, if only. Okay, let's learn about where they are in Europe and what they do. So there are actually many types of goblins mentioned throughout European folk tales. Bogies are tiny goblins that hide in dark corners and scare children. Another word for them is the boogeyman. In America, we talk about the boogeyman a lot, actually, even though, you know, not in Europe right now, but I grew up scared of the boogeyman. That's for sure. Hogboons are friendly, kind goblins that don't like to admit their heritage and bring luck to families. Trolls are nocturnal, invisible to humans, and dwell in gold-colored, elaborate homes found in the earth. Similar to a hobgoblin, but not necessarily in the goblin family, are Aziza. They live in anthills and silk cotton trees of Africa. In many other cultures, hobgoblin is used as a term for something that causes superstitious fear. It describes anything that we might not be able to explain, an evil but supernatural phenomenon, and sometimes a death omen. Okay, so hobgoblin is kind of strange. They make mischief, they play tricks, but in some cultures, it's like an omen of death. Ooh, scary. I hate it. It's awful. They come from Europe, but they are everywhere now. So, you know, if you like Shakespeare, like I do, I love Shakespeare. In Midsummer Night's Dream, the character Puck, one of the best characters, is a hobgoblin. And Puck does indeed play many tricks. That's true. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me answer some of this chat. Does anyone have any questions, any comments about hobgoblins? If the boogeyman is real, I'm not going to the US. It's not real. He's not real. I swear to God, he's not real. Okay. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Great, great, great. You guys are active. You're awake. Hello. Okay. Let's move on. Okay. You know, I'm gonna skip this one. It's a fairy, but, and you know, I'm gonna go to this one. That's right. Okay. So we have a siren, but it's not a siren of the sea. It's a siren of the mountain. And I guess in Spanish, it would be called the Sigwapa. And guapa in Spanish, I believe, means like good looking. But Sigwapa together will mean siren. Because, you know, the sirens are so beautiful. They can lure you there. I know, it's just art, guys. Come on. All right, so let's talk about the Sigwapa. High mountain siren. The Sigwapa is a nocturnal, controversial creature that originates from Dominican folklore. She lurks in the high mountain caves, waiting to lure lost travelers with her beauty. But don't be fooled by her appearance. The Sigwapa is deadly. In rural areas of the Dominican Republic, sightings are still reported every year. The commonality in all the reports is that the Sigwapa is devastatingly beautiful and eerily enchanting. She has long, shiny, brown-black hair used to cover her naked body. She sings while roaming the woods at night, and her feet are backwards. This makes it impossible to track her movements. She is not quite human, magical, deceitful, deadly, jealous, and cruel. The origins of this tale trace back to the Taino natives. These people migrated from South America to the Dominican Republic almost 1,500 years ago. The Taino believe that the Sigwapa were the souls of women who had died while hiding in the mountains from Spanish settlers. Because the Dominican Republic and much of South America was colonized by Spain, so now the locals, the Taino, believe that the Sigwapa are the women trying to hide from these evil Spanish settlers. All right. Ooh, you guys are active. Let me check. Anything else? Jason says Sigwapa sus. You are correct, Jason. Yes. Oh my gosh. You guys, yeah, it's a little scary, right? I think. You guys are scaring me with talks of these nukes. You gotta stop that. Oh man. No, no, no. Yes, I think they're quite scary. Okay, let's start here with similar stories. Similar stories of such an enchanting but deadly creature appear in many other cultures. The Sejuanaba is a shape-shifting demon in Central American with similar long flowing hair. La Sayona is a vengeful Venezuelan that lures men into the woods with only a skull for a face. The Churel resides in India, and she too has backward-facing feet. While La Llorona is traced to parts of North and South America, she's said to be a child-eating devil. Oh my God. The legend of the Sigwapa goes on to say that the only way to possibly capture this magical siren is to track them at night by the light of a full moon with a polydactylic dog. You can attempt this if you happen to have a dog with an extra digit or an extra finger or paw, but be forewarned, she will most certainly die within days of her imprisonment. So if you manage to catch her, she is just gonna die. She's gonna die. Okay, so we know backwards feet. She doesn't have any clothes, but her hair is so long that it acts like clothes. Some tips if you ever go to South America or Central America and you might think you see a Sigwapa. Don't look them in the eye, otherwise you will be permanently bewitched. Ah, they'll take you to the mountain. Oh, if you hear a Sigwapa, since they are kind of like a siren of the sea, but they're a siren of the mountain, it almost always means certain death. There's a somber song they sing called El Canto de Sirena, or the Mermaid Song. How we feeling? How we doing? Sigwapas are kind of scary. Don't look them in the eye. Yep. Yes, can we get out of this slide? Yeah, we're going to get out of this slide. Do not worry. We're going to talk about something else. We're going to talk about leshies. So when you see a leshie in this picture, what do you think? When you see a leshie, what do you think? Ugly, old, an old man, ew. First Nation, could be. Big beard man. Ugly, wood. Yeah, just like Medusa. Okay, great. I love it. I love it. Let's talk a little bit more. Leshies are shapeshifters. They can change their shape. They're originally from Slovakia, but they're also part of other Eastern European countries like Ukraine, Poland, Russia, Bulgaria. Actually, leshies have some cool sounds. They like to laugh, they like to whistle, and they like to sing. So let's read a little more about leshies, starting here. In Slavic folklore, there is a bark-skinned, hairy creature that roams through the forest, protecting animals and trees. He is covered in vines. He is mysterious. He is the Leshy. This shapeshifter sometimes appears as a long-haired old man with foliage and branches sticking out of his beard, while other accounts claim he appears as a mere plant, hiding from potential predators. He is a trickster, as opposed to an evil or deadly creature, and can sometimes appear with glowing eyes. tails, horns, hooves, pale skin, brown skin, and even live grass growing from his belly. Leshy entertain themselves by luring travelers further and further into the woods until their victim is completely lost. They do this by mocking the sound of a familiar voice, erasing trail markings and moving signs. In order to escape their pranks, it is recommended that you put your left shoe on your right foot. The peasant-like Leshy almost always have their shoes on the wrong feet. Or you light a fire to distract him. The sign of the cross, so if you are Catholic, like Christian, you can make the sign of the cross, if you're religious, tends to ward off this prankster, but this may be a result of medieval priests claiming they were demonic in nature. So maybe this works, maybe it doesn't. So you're better off putting your left shoe on your right foot and your right shoe on your left foot in order to keep him away. All right. There are similar stories found around the world, such as the woodwoes of Western Europe, a Bigfoot-like humanoid covered in hair, the Green Man of Britain, a vine-covered pagan deity, and the Basadron of Basque mythology, a hairy giant who builds stone monuments and tombs in the woods. The story of the Basadron is almost identical to that of the Leshy. He, too, is a protector of the forest, but also plants and harvests crops throughout the Pyrenees Mountains. The Basadron calls to herds of animals to warn of impending storms and predators such as wolves. The difference between those two wild men is that the Basadron protects animals from wolves, while the Leshy is almost always in the company of wolves. Ah! Oh my God! Oh, terrible! You thought this guy was gonna be ugly and not that bad. Yeah, he's the plant man. No, he's kind of like a siren of the forest. I'm speechless too, George. So something I want to point out. Let me see. Let me get my pointer tool. Another siren. I know. People just like sirens. So Leshy lured the travelers away by mocking the sound of a familiar voice. That's one thing. Then they erase trail markers and they move signs. However, I want to ask you, if you met a Leshy and they were mocking the sound of a familiar voice, whose voice would you hear? I will tell you my answer, but I want to hear your answers first. Whose voice would you hear? I don't know. Nathan says my brother. Michael says my mom. Michael says Andrew. Joyce says my sister. James says I'll be hiking alone. Justin and Janie say Alan. Max says my bully friend. Ooh. Maxine says a friend from my childhood, my friends. Okay, I'll tell you. I would probably hear my boyfriend's voice and then I'd go crazy and I'd be like, where is he? Keegan, where are you? Oh my God. And then the Leshy would lure me into the forest and kill me. I'm just kidding. I don't think Leshies are real, guys. I don't think so. You never know, but I don't think so. So let's take a look at where else you find these Leshy creatures and what they might be. So obviously for me, since I'm in the United States, and I think many of you are also in Canada or possibly the US as well, Bigfoot. Bigfoot. Is he real? I don't know. Jason just told us how to kill a Leshy. Use a flamethrower because he's a tree. Excellent idea. So now you can feel prepared to encounter a Leshy. All right, excellent. let's talk about the Gorgon. I know you all are big fans of the Gorgon because many of you have read Percy Jackson. Woohoo! Okay, I love it. Yes, yes, yes. Medusa, snake woman. Why is she like Medusa? Because she is Medusa, or rather, Medusa is her. So, let's talk about it. The Gorgon comes from ancient Greece because Medusa is a Gorgon. She's a snake-haired she-beast. But I like to be a little nicer to Medusa, to be honest. I think Medusa's had a bad time. Okay, incredible. So let's read a little bit about the Gorgon. From ancient Greece comes the mythical Gorgon. The name itself translates to dreadful or growling beast. Gorgons are not a race of creatures, but specifically, Gorgons are three sisters with living snakes slithering where their hair should be. They were Stheno, Euryale, and the most well-known, Medusa. Unfortunately for Medusa, she was the only sister that was not immortal, and according to the legend, was killed by the demigod Perseus. The images of the Gorgon sisters are very popular in ancient art recovered from ancient Greece and ancient Rome. It is thought that the horrible depictions would serve as protection, scaring off would-be intruders or thieves. There are some minor variations on their appearance throughout history. Some images have fangs, wings, scales, or a protruding tongue, while others show them with flashing eyes, claws, and an evil smile. Either way, the Gorgons are not considered a good omen. However, the people of ancient Greece believed that taking blood from the right side of a Gorgon could bring the dead back to life. Blood taken from the left side would result in immediate death. Oh my God. Stheno, which translates to forceful, was the eldest of the three and was considered the most vicious. Euryale, which translates to far-roaming, was the middle sister and was known for her haunting and deathly cries. Medusa, which means guardian, was the youngest of the three and, as mentioned, the only sister that was not immortal. She was beheaded by Perseus, who used her head as a weapon against his enemies, turning all onlookers to stone. He eventually gave the head to Athena, the goddess of wisdom, courage, and justice, to be used for protection on her shield. Ah, poor Medusa. I feel so bad. She was not immortal. I know. Can't look in the eyes of Medusa. Don't look in her eyes. Don't look in her eyes. Otherwise, you are frozen. You are stone. Okay. Yes. Great. So let's move on since we're familiar with that. I guess we're going to talk now about the Imugi, the Korean dragon. This one is new for me. I've never heard of the Imugi before, so I'm excited. Everyone's, woo, dragon, woohoo! Yes, we love dragons. Oh, I love dragons, guys. So good. Okay, so this dragon in particular is from Korea. It lives, as we can see on the side, in rivers, lakes, oceans, ponds, water caves. Yeah. Woohoo! Let's read about it. There are thousands of types of dragons, as you all know. All are fairly similar in theory, but most have a distinguishable feature or power that differentiates them from the others. Almost every culture in the world has their own distinct dragon. The Imugi are Korean dragons. They are considered to be benevolent creatures with the capacity to understand and express a broad range of emotions. They are associated with water and agriculture and can bring on rain and clouds. This makes them quite different from dragons of other cultures, as most dragons are related to fire and destruction. Interesting. Artistic depictions of the Imugi sometimes show him carrying a yoijue, said that wrong, I'm very sorry, in one of its claws. A yoijue, oh my god, they spelled it wrong, guys. Can you believe it? We got one spelling here. We got a second spelling here. Yoiju is defined as a wish-fulfilling jewel, an equivalent to the philosopher's stone. The Koreans believed that Imugis are essentially dragons in training. It takes them over thousands of years to be classified as an official dragon. The word itself translates to great lizard, indicating that he has not quite reached dragon status. If they do catch the Yuoju falling from the sky, they will be promoted to their true dragon destiny. Some stories say that the Korean sun goddess creates Imugis from human girls. When they are born, the girl is marked on her shoulder with a dragon symbol. When the girl turns 17, she transforms into the Imugi. There are theories that the Imugi could have actually existed as a Titanobua, an extinct snake that lived 58 million years ago. It was the longest and the heaviest snake to ever exist. However, the Titanobua was native to areas around South America and not Korea. Woo! Okay. Chat's blowing up. What did I miss, guys? I am going to Korea because I want to see fire-breathing lizards. Yes, yes, of course. You have to go. You have to see. So yeah, this is more of a water dragon, I would say. Yep. Okay. I love it. I'm sorry, I'm just catching up on the chat. Stop. Yeah, guys, stop. Okay. Remember, let's try to just keep it to questions and like maybe some thoughts or ideas that you have. But we don't need a million F's in the chat. Okay. Beautiful. So yeah, dragons are from everywhere. This particular dragon's from Korea, and it's very interesting because it is a water dragon and is not a fire dragon like most of the rest of the world. Okay, I am going to skip this one because I want to talk about the Morrigan, the Phantom Queen of Fate. Yes, and this one comes from Ireland. Jason says, why skip? Jason, to be honest, I really like learning about like maybe myths from different places. And so like Spain and Ireland are very close. So I thought I would skip ahead to the Irish one. I think this one is very interesting and different from a lot of others. So let's take a look at her. The Phantom Queen of Fate from Ireland. What do you think? What do you think? Seems like she's some kind of goddess of war, goddess of fate, of death. My fate. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, let's do some reading. Let's read a little bit about the Phantom Queen. Ah! All right. The Morrigan is a phantom queen from Irish mythology and the Celtic goddess of battle, strife, and fertility. This Lady of the Lake is a shapeshifter that takes the form of a crow, wolf, horse, or cow and presides over rivers, lakes, and fresh water. The Morrigan, or the Morrigu, is associated with revenge, the night, magic, and prophecy. In many of the stories, she appears as a trio of goddesses, taking the image of a maiden, mother, and a crone. Crone is an old person. In her triple form, she is called the Three Morigna. Oh my God. The Celts believed that when a battle began, the Morrigan flew above them in the form of a raven or crow, shrieking at the possibility of claiming fallen soldiers. This cry was said to bring courage to some and terror to others, or to the enemy. Okay. She is this is in Gaelic, in Irish. I'm not sure how to read it. So I'm going to say she is a people of the goddess Danu. These people were a supernatural race in Irish mythology that live in another world but interact with humans. They are all depicted as kings and queens, and each represent a different aspect of nature. Morrigan is the daughter of Ernmas, a mother goddess who died in a mythical battle and had 3 warrior daughters, the other 2 being Babd and Macha. As mentioned, she often appears in 3 forms, as the maiden, mother, and crone, but also as the 3 sisters. Many tales surround the Morrigan, but her message is consistently that of courage, wisdom, and warnings. She functions as a comforting guide to warriors crossing over, leading them by hand into the spiritual world. So she's not necessarily a bad, mythical being or mythical beast. She's a goddess of war, kind of like Athena, right? Nightmares for a while. Well, you don't have to have nightmares about the Phantom Queen. I don't think you do about the Morrigan. I'm never going to Ireland. No. She's totally fine. It's only if you're in battle. If you're not in battle, then it's fine. And you know what else, guys? She might be the goddess of war and death. She's also the goddess of birth and fertility, the ability to have a baby. And fate. Fate can be good. Fate can be bad. So unlike some of the other mythical beings we were talking about, she's not a bad one. She's fine. And, she's kind of cool. She's got weapons for battle, spears, swords, shape-shifting, sorcery, magic. She is so cool and very powerful. I mean, if she can bring back the dead, she's definitely someone you want on your side if you're fighting a battle or in a war. Okay, then she can't go to war. She might not be able to. If you're not in battle, you get fresh water. That's right. She'll give you fresh water too. Okay, guys. Awesome. All right, let's move on. Ooh. Okay, guys. Do you want to learn about the Sea Eating Octopus? Oh, the Ship Eating Octopus. Oh my God. Yes, scary. And here's the thing. This Ship Eating Octopus is very popular in movies and in books. So I hope y'all have seen, Pirates of the Caribbean, but the Kraken is in there. We see the Kraken, I believe, in movie number 2. In Pirates of the Caribbean 2, the Kraken is there, and it's terrifying. I mean, look at it. I'd be so scared. Okay. The Kraken. What do you know about the Kraken? Who is the Kraken? The Kraken's so big, yes. What do you know about the Kraken? It's a big squid. What else? Anything else about the Kraken? It eats ships. It's squishy. It's scary and will eat me. You guys are all correct. Yes. Colossal squid. Yes, perfect. Definitely. Ugly. Oh, you guys love these adjectives. Okay. It's a big squid which somehow sinks the most durable of boats. Yes, Michael. Thank you. Great way to say it. Okay. Woo! All right. Let's see. So let's see. I wanted to start from well, I guess we can start from the beginning. With sightings being documented as far back as the 13th century. That's a long time ago. The Kraken is a legendary monster of the sea that lurks around Norway and Greenland and devours everything in its path. Such a creature is mentioned in the Orva order, an Icelandic tale of two sea monsters named Hafgufa, the sea mist, and Lungbakur, the heatherback. Around the same time as this Icelandic tale, a Norwegian document describes two large octopus-like creatures that swarm through the seas, but could not have babies. Due to the unfortunate circumstances, the two would have to consume as much food as possible to survive. This would account for the tales that the Kraken had the ability to devour entire ships and swallow large portions of the sea. Despite various fictitious interpretations, the original sightings report the creature to be more crab-like than the massive ship-eating octopus we've come to imagine. The mile-long, not kidding, crab whale caused giant whirlpools and forced boats to burst up on a flying mountain of water coming from its nostrils. The word Kraken translates to an unhealthy animal or something twisted. In modern German, it translates to octopus. In Dutch, the words mean breaking or the sound of cracking. The phrase, "Release the Kraken," comes from the original Clash of the Titans movie in 1981, in which the gods are angry and want to release this destructive beast upon the humans who have angered them. It is most likely that fishermen and explorers who reported to have seen the Kraken actually saw a giant squid. The real cephalopod, the real giant squid, can grow to be 50 feet long. The science that debunks this myth does not stop global interest in finding the elusive and mysterious Kraken. Oh my God, the Kraken! Yeah, guys, this is one, you're talking about nuking, this is one you could nuke, is the Kraken. Oh my God, it's really, like, awful. And it's big, it's awful, it's scary, it will eat you, but it will slip away. Yes, it will, Jason. I have a feeling the Kraken has survived this long that it will survive still. So be careful with the Krakens. I can't even. So that's the Kraken. Okay, we have another woman. You know, I'm gonna skip ahead. Valkyrie. You know, we are running out of time. There's so many more we could talk about, but because we're running out of time, I'm going to go to the beginning and we're going to just kind of review the different ones we talked about. Here we are. Okay, so here's my idea, guys. I propose that maybe next month I will continue doing another webinar about these creatures because I think they're very interesting. But for now, let's talk about what we learned today. So we talked about mermaids. We talked about hobgoblins, the Sigwapa, the Leshy, the Gorgon, the Imugi, the Morrigan, and we finish with the Kraken. Okay, got about halfway. That's pretty good. So I want to hear from you guys. Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any good ideas about stuff? About any of these animals? Any of these mythical creatures? Any questions? Okay, I'll let you think. If no questions, I'm curious. Which one is your favorite that we talked about today? Which one is your favorite and which one is your least favorite? Michael's favorite is the Imugi. Jason says Leshy. Yeah, the Imugi I think is pretty cool. I liked learning about the Imugi. I think they're cool. Austin likes the Hobgoblin. Yeah, the Hobgoblins are kind of cool. Getting a lot of Imugis, dragons. Imugi. I love it. Guys, ooh, Alina says Mermaid is her favorite. Awesome. Yolanda likes Imugi more and hates all of the sirens. Yeah, we talked about a lot of sirens today. Ellie likes mermaids. Vanessa liked the Imugi. Royce is asking, which one should we nuke if we can? I will leave that up to you guys to decide. I would suggest the Kraken, to be honest, but that's just me. Okay, my favorite that we talked about today, I think the Imugi, and I also really liked hearing about the Leshy and the Sigwapa, because Leshy, Sigwapa, and Imugi are all creatures I didn't hear about until I read this book. And honestly, I think that I would want to find a Leshy and like try to get away from the Leshy. Like the Leshy would try to take me into the forest, but I would try to get away from them. I would be very good at it too. Okay, any last questions? Any last thoughts? We are at the end otherwise. Cool. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for letting me talk on and on and on about mythical creatures and beings and beasts. I hope you learned something. I hope you're not too scared. Most of these creatures obviously do not exist, so don't be scared. And I think hopefully next webinar, I will do the next round of creatures. So we will hopefully get to the pixie and all of them. Thank you guys. Please have a good night. I'm going to turn it back to Kay.